have a quorum, so I want to welcome everyone to the joint meeting for the Rules and Open Government Committee and Committee of the Whole. Tony, can we have a roll call, please?
Arenas?
Here.
Cohen?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
Morales? Jones?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start out with the agenda for Tuesday, January 25th. And we are going to start out on pages 4 and 5. Six and 7. Eight and 9. Ten and 11. 12 and 13. 14 and 15. 16 and 17. And on page 17, there's a request to have item 4.1, the gun harm reduction ordinance, not before 6 p.m. So can the maker of the motion consider including that? Pages 18 and 19. And there is an ad sheet as well. So I'm going to go to the public, and the first public speaker is Paul Soto.
Yes, good afternoon, Council. Paul Soto from the Horse. On this agenda, number one, the clerk is placing it on the agenda 1 hour before. So we don't have a chance to review it. That's against the law. It's against the law to do that. I need these agendas at least 3 days prior to this meeting. Okay, I need that, and I need it now. Okay, I'm tired of this. Oh, I forgot. Oh, it was I didn't mean to do it. No, I'm tired of that. Okay, she's going to court. She's going to get her her service very soon. So just plan on that. Secondly, with respect to these consent calendars, they're getting stacked with a lot of issues that should be discussed. Namely, on this particular agenda is the parkland turnkeys and allocations for developers to either pay their way out of putting parks or not putting parks in. Okay, and giving the credit or excess or just the whole thing needs to be discussed openly in the public, but it's on the consent calendar. The other thing is that let me see what, oh yeah, I need November 9th. I need November 9th's minutes, not the synopsis. The synopsis, there is no public comment on any of the issues. It's as if nobody existed. Because when the future looks at this time period, it's like nobody commented on anything. It was just you people voting on something. But the public had comments that were in contention to what it is that you voted on. Okay, and that needs to be a part of the public record. Okay, so I need the minutes from November 9th. I'm writing a book, and I need that document because that document is a part of San Jose and California history, in case none of you knew. Because despite what it is that you guys decided, that statue was removed because it was about raising the...
Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Happy meeting to everyone. To try to go over my items. Thanks a lot for Paul's words. I want to work in those ways too. And hopefully I can write some letters to Tony about the sort of subject matter of, thank you. To speak to 2.7 and 2.8, about the municipal elections on June 7th, how is the legal language going on city charter issues that can help decide language for the ballot, that can talk about community police oversight and things like that? Good luck for the June and November ballots and the city charter process legal language to do that. Good luck and work to everyone. 2.8 is a hello to Martin Luther King. Oh, Martin Luther King Day. You know, I'm interested how his ideas of he had kind of a world view of issues that, you know, I think addressed the ideas of green sustainability at this time, and the ideas of you know, racial equity and low income ideas of what can be green sustainability can be interesting subject matter at this time, and for ideas like the equity roundtable. Good luck in how to work on those issues. There's items of thermoplastic striping materials. It's about $1 million. That's pretty expensive stuff, just to note that. 2.18 is items of dumpster day stuff. I would like to talk about that at the public comment time at the end of the meeting. And I guess the final item to talk about is community forest management planning. That's going to be an important item. You're going to be doing work with California Office of Emergency Services. Good luck how to do that work and talk about it and make it open and clear and understandable for this next few years. It's really important work, so good luck how you can do that.
Jill?
Thank you. Mine is specifically to the length of all of these meetings. So this one in particular, when you were going through it, you were saying, you know, page 18, page 19. And I'm asking for, I know this would take a change, but since you guys have a morning session where we go at 1:30 and then you guys hopefully get a break and then you go till the evening, I'd like to request that somehow we make it possible that you allow a public open forum comment at, say, like, you know, after the ceremonial items or something like that. So you can opt to use your open forum time, your 2 minutes then, or you can opt to use it at the very, very end of the night at midnight. But as somebody who's trying to become very educated and involved in all things in the city right now, at this time in my life when I can, I'm finding that it's impossible to think of what is the most important thing to say at 2 minutes at like 11:30 at night. And I know this has been brought up many times before, but we really can't consider, you know, open forum of any value at 11:30 p.m. after contentious issues, after a long day. It's just really not right. So I would liken it to workers who, you know, after, you know, managing a retail place, for example, you know, your workers at they work 4 hours, they get 15 minutes. Work another 4 hours, they get 15 minutes. So in my mind, I feel like if we could just offer a 2-minute public forum in the first 4 hours and an open forum in the second 4 hours, you could actually just allow, you know, only one time that you use it, but according to your day, what would work best for you to deliver those 2 minutes of what you find is most important, to give all of those people, the city council, that information. I'd like us to consider that possibility so we could actually get it accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the committee. Can I get a motion with the not before time in the ad sheet?
I'll move that we adopt the agenda with item 4.1 not to be heard before 6 o'clock at the ad sheet.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas?
Yeah.
Cohen?
Aye.
Davis?
Yes.
Morales?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the next agenda for Tuesday, February 1st. And we're going to start out on pages 4 and 5. 6 and 7. Eight and 9. And that is it. And there's no ad sheet. And we're going to go to the public first. First public speaker is Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I'm looking at this agenda. It says, notice to the public, there will be no separate discussion of consent calendar items as they are considered to be routine by City Council. I would like the City Council to openly vote on that. Openly vote that they said that these are just routine items. That's what I'd like. I don't want it assumed. I want their vote. It says it will be adopted by one motion. If a member of the City Council requests discussion on a particular item, that item may be removed from consent calendar. Okay, prior to this, in the month of December, it said staff or the public had this ability to do this. Now, this city, I know for a fact, is not going to have that on the consent calendar if it wasn't an ordinance, a law. There was something, because this city is not going to afford a courtesy to the public, because this is not a democracy that we're dealing with. That's a fact. This is a totalitarian managerial bureaucracy. That's what it is. Okay, where everything is siloed and nobody accepts accountability and nobody has any kind of moral or ethical compulsion to do anything about it. Just so long as it's legal, then it's right, and that's it. That is it. So this calendar guaranteed me as a right, not a courtesy, for me to pull an item from this calendar. So number one, I want to know the rationale, and I demand that there be an explanation as to why that happened. You don't just change something like that and then come on here and then not say anything about a significant change like that, because that was a right that was taken away from the public. Now, you can't just do that with the pen. Even you are accountable to the law. And you're accountable to the people. Perales, I'm living in your district. You're accountable to me. So I want to know, how come you haven't mentioned anything about this?
Blair?
All right, thank you. Blair Beekman here. I totally agree with what Paul's saying, and I want to really work on this item in our future. I'm writing letters to you. I've written yourselves a bunch of letters, a letter on Friday that no one's written me back on, that nobody ever writes me back on. Why is that? It was a very nice, detailed letter asking for help, asking for guidance. You guys do not write me back. Why is that? Paul's got a really important point. Good for him. I want to work on it too. I think many of us do. So thank you for your time on that issue. To speak to items about the sewer maintenance and sanitary issues surrounding it, just a further note from the previous item that, I'm really hopeful about the upcoming meetings between City of San Jose and California Office of Emergency Services. I think our planning ideas for natural disaster preparedness that will include sewers, it's important, and it's learned, and I think we're in an important year this year to learn how to be open about the subject and to be clear with each other in our planning ideas. And that from that, natural disaster practices can actually be the ideas of good health and human services ideas and racial equity. And I think it's a much more important concept than considering more and more law enforcement for natural disaster preparedness ideas. It's the health and human services that's more interesting and a more natural way to consider issues, actually. So good luck to ourselves in this work and our planning in the next year. Everything needs to be included as part of good ideas of Reimagine. And good luck in our efforts and work. Thank you.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the committee. Can I get a motion, please?
Move approval.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the next item, meeting schedules. I'm going to go to the public first, and Paul, go ahead.
Wait a minute, this is meeting schedules?
Yes, release date for study session.
Oh, no, I passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Blair, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Is there any way to offer at this time what exactly the release date would be for the meeting it was for? If there was one, even if there was one.
So it's for Friday, January 28th.
No specific meeting, but just the date was planned and now you're releasing it.
That's correct.
Well, thank you. I have nothing else to add. Thank you very much.
All right.
Move approval.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas, Arenas, Cohen.
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Tony, that was a yes for me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. On to the next item, the public record, and I'm going to go to the public first. Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. There are 3 or 4 items on the letters, a few from myself. There was a really interesting letter from someone from Palo Alto who simply offered, I think, the ideas that we're going through our next wave of COVID at this time, and I think we're really going to have to start preparing for extending the tenants' rights and housing rights issues in March around COVID, rent subsidies and the help in paying rent and forgiveness ideas for rent. Good luck how we can start talking about this stuff now. It's important to start preparing for March now, and good luck in those efforts. Yeah, and we can do it. I think we deserve it, and it's valid, and good luck in those efforts. With a minute left, a few of my own letters were about, one was about, I'm trying to create a theme that in all the new law enforcement practices that are going all around the Bay Area at this time, I think it's a bit overwhelming. And then I think that from that, I think it's an important time we actually can better rely on our ideas of reimagine, racial equity, health and human services, and especially open public policies and accountability that can help define these law enforcement questions of this time. Good luck in our good practices to continue these sort of efforts and what we could be building at this time. And to conclude, I wrote about the English only things that has to be an important component to the questions of future voting rights in this area for people who have, say, worker visas or just working visas. Good luck in these efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
Yes, Paul Sutter from the Horseshoe. The primary beneficiary of the systematic, calculated, ruthless, inhumane redlining policies was District 6, Willow Glen. Racial discrimination, marginalization, and criminalization of Mexicans who worked and toiled the land, endured the poisoning of their children with pesticides, leading to thousands of birth defects, fought valiantly and courageously as any other race, and endured the great amount of casualties per capita on behalf of a country that treated Mexicans and their families like slaves, beasts, a burden, existing only to maintain the comforts and privileges of white society. Mexicans were awarded the most Congressional Medal of Honor during World War II with 38 medals. Refused burial back here in the States in certain cemeteries because they were Mexican. in death, white contempt for Mexicans held power, segregating cemeteries. We fought for democracy and freedom abroad, yet my mother was shamed and literally beaten physically as a policy for exercising a right enshrined in the United States Constitution, and that her ancestors fought and died for in wars, freedom of speech. If all men are created equal and possess inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then why were Mexicans so savagely and violently treated with contempt and hatred and an impoverished existence, taught to feel ashamed of Mexican language as well as being Mexican? What kind of people treat other human beings like whites in San Jose treated men? What churches do they worship God in, righteously espousing the virtues of Jesus Christ, who advocated on behalf and was crucified for promoting food for the hungry, generosity stranger, water for the thirsty, clothing for the naked, attention to the orphans and widows, medicine to the sick, and to love each other as he loved us. San Jose was filled with Protestant churches and Mormon churches. What dissonance exists in a mind and a soul that would only treat Mexicans as subhuman, creating systems of poverty and suffering that they think so piously and righteously of themselves? You got a lot to answer to, San Jose. You got a lot to answer to.
All right, bringing it back to the committee. Can I get a motion, please?
Move to note and file.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
I need to go back briefly to the two agendas. I wanted to note to you that I requested interpreters for the 25th and needed to ask you if you felt the need for interpreters for February 1st. So we definitely have them already booked for the 25th. The first, I was looking at the topics, nothing jumped out at me as needing interpretation.
Yes, Tony, can you make a note to raise that as a topic for next week's rules
Yes.
meeting? We can make that decision then.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, on to the consent calendar. Going to the public first, Paul Soto.
Once again, I need some answers, city attorney. I need some answers. Your silence is not going to cut it. You're just sitting there looking at the screen and just like looking, with the quizzical look on your face. No, that's not gonna suffice. I demand that as a citizen that experienced that. Everything that I just read to you, that's powerful. This is about the consent calendar, right?
Yes.
Okay, then that's what I'm talking about. She's the one that answers for that because this is a legal question. I wouldn't ask you because you don't know nothing about the law. So anyways, back to the city attorney. I want some answers about what it is, the contention that I'm bringing up. I want to know from you directly, as a citizen of this city, that you work for me. You don't work for the city, you work for me. So I want an answer from you, city attorney. Did she remove from this record a law or an ordinance or something or a resolution? You call it whatever you want. Am I being deprived my citizens' right to pull from that calendar? Okay, and what authority did she have to remove it? That's what I want to know. This is a direct question to you, and I need some answers. Why? Because you know what? I have fought too hard for my rights. I paid my dues in prison, man. I dealt with the racist policies in this city. So did my parents. Okay, so I'm sick and tired of this city not taking that into account, but espousing racial equity with their mouth. You guys throw that word around like you know what the answer is. You don't know what it's like to live in the inequities in this city. And that's why we have that policy. And this is part of it. This clerk, the trust has been eroded. The public trust in any document that is produced and signed off by the city clerk is null and void until this question is answered. I want some answers.
Brian?
Thank you. Whoever fixed the consent calendar where you can speak on each item, it worked really well. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, sorry.
Was that it? Okay, Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Just a few quick items to mention at this time. I hope perhaps we can get a history of how the initial consent calendar was working and understand its background to talk about this subject more in the future. And from that subject, I just wanted to thank that the item that you have on the consent today is about a job fair in District 5 in Councilperson Carrasco's district. It was over this past weekend, and I think it would have been, it was an interesting weekend, I felt, of MLK events, and it was just, I had a really interesting, good time, and I just wanted to, I don't know, to extend a hello to the people who attended the job fair over the MLK holiday weekend, and what they possibly discovered may have been interesting. And just to acknowledge that at this time, and to acknowledge what the good practices Martin Luther King can do, can work towards, of ideas of peace and working together in nonviolent terms to solve issues, I think can very much help ourselves in how we can develop our future council agendas and our public meeting process and its structure. It has a far-ranging work and effects that I wanted to thank everyone for at this time, and good luck in our efforts to continue his good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the committee. Can I get a motion, please?
Full.
Can I get a
Second.
second? Great, thank you. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Peralez,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the new official logo of San Jose. And it's a memo from the mayor. And before we go to the public, Lee, do you want to speak to the early consideration response form?
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor Lee Wilcox, Assistant City Manager. Based off of the mayor's revised memorandum from yesterday, staff does recommend greenlighting this. However, instead of bringing it forward in the mid-year budget process, which is usually used for technical changes or emergencies, we would be treating this as part of the 2022-23 budget process and come forward with a cost estimate for the council's consideration to carry this forward. So the council would see that in the form of a cost estimate or official manager's budget addendum for consideration.
Great, thank you. Going to the public, Paul?
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. This is one thing that I agree upon with the mayor. I would also like a symbol though, rather than just because what you're approving is just a word. I like the style. I like everything. And in fact, my homies in prison, they're gonna have this written on. I'm serious, man. This is what they're gonna do because it's a good quality symbol. It's eye popping. You know, the black and white. It's cool. You know, and I'm telling you, homeboys from there, because we represent. I know none of you will understand this, but when we're in there, okay, all you have is pride in your city, because you're in there with men all throughout California, and each one takes an exceptional pride in their city, where they come from, where their barrio is, and that's how you announce yourself. What's your name? My name's Paul Soto. I'm from San Juan, from the Horseshoe. That's how you introduce yourself. You let them know exactly where you're from, and you stand proud of it. And that's one of the reasons why it's so offensive to still have police officers on the police force. If you're gonna wear that San Jose PD badge, then wear that with pride, man. You wear that with pride because you're representing San Jose. This is the kind of attitude that I have towards him. And if you can't represent San Jose with pride, you know, get out of here, man. We don't need you. We don't need you. You know, and I believe that that logo is consistent with the pride that I carry and that others carry. Even though they're in there, they're still representing San Jose to the fullest because they take pride in it, because they know where they come from. And we teach that. And that's what pissed me off about the prosecutors prosecuting people from the Horseshoe, because we taught them to feel pride from that barrio. Yeah, you're from the Horseshoe. You speak that with pride anywhere you go. And what the prosecutors did is started prosecuting them for gang enhancements because they were saying that that was a gang. Anybody that knows that neighborhood knows that that's not a gang, it's a barrio. And I know what we experienced there. And so, and everything that I represent is consistent with the way that that logo is printed. It's nice, it's got a good curve, but I would like an amendment and a logo.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I think it was nice to do that too, and I agree with what Mr. Soto was saying. Yeah, it would be nice, a little symbol. But sorry, I didn't read all the agenda stuff, but it's important to have a really good logo that does reflect pride and all of that. And that is a focal point, and like a flag or those other things. So I think what Mr. Soto said is correct too, and I support that. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's it for public comments, bringing it back to the committee. Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. I actually agree that this logo has been a tremendous hit and really accepted by our community widely. You see people wearing the T-shirt with pride, including myself and those that I think wouldn't certainly wear a T-shirt with our current official city logo in the same way. But I am actually concerned that by making it the official city logo, you actually take away that cool factor that it has, right? This is something that was created and developed by the community. It wasn't, it was supported by the city, right? But it wasn't necessarily something internal. We used it for purposes, and we do use it for purposes of marketing and promotion, and really something edgy, something different than, again, our traditional city logo, if you will, or our seal. And so I guess that's my only concern. I know that the mayor had talked about, including the conversation. This will take more of a conversation with council members as well as our community. I just think that that's something worth note that, at times when you take something like this, that actually I think part of its appeal is the fact that it's not necessarily the official city logo. And then you make it broad, so broad that it's used everywhere, on everybody's, council shirts and city flags. And, I think then at that point, the uniqueness of it kind of starts to dwindle. So I just think that's something worth considering as we move forward with this. But with that, I will move the recommendation with the staff early consideration.
Can I get a second? I don't hear a second yet. But just so you know, Councilman Perales, with someone with young kids, you're going to experience going from being cool to being uncool as your kids get older. So I just want to prepare you for that. Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. I'm happy to second it. I just wanted to make sure I understood. The early consideration response is to bring it back as part of the regular budget season. Is that correct?
That is correct. So you'll see that in the spring.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just when we see the staff recommendation is green, and then the staff evaluation, is it aligned with the roadmap? No. Is it already work underway? No. Is it time critical or an emergency? No. And then will this require substantial resources or budget? Yes. And then it's green. It's a little bit confusing. So I just want to, maybe those would be, you're saying yes, green to put it to the budget process, but this early consideration was really supposed to be, it was green, it could move forward right now. So I would just suggest that maybe that means it should be yellow, because that's the budget process.
That's a fair point. I think with the revised memo, the way we interpreted that work, and by the way, I agree that it's a bit confusing. As the replacement memo came out, we got the early consideration form up today, so I do apologize for that. I think we saw with the revised memorandum from the mayor that more of the direction or the green light was for us to do that analysis and bring it forward for your recommendation within the budget process. So it was more of a referral to the budget process. And while the mayor did state the mid-year budget process, that comes before you guys in 3 weeks. And so that would be a yellow light. We do not have the capacity to pull that off. But we do have capacity to bring it forward as part of the normal process. And that's what we were thinking was the direction. And that's why we greenlit it, because it's just that analysis for your consideration.
Okay. I would just like to point out, I think we're getting a lot more green lights than we anticipated when staff decided to have this early consideration response form. And I don't want it to be taking away in any of this work that we come up with on any given Wednesday to take away from the city roadmap. And I know that work is not all complete. So I just would, I guess I would just caution the city manager's office on these early response forms and making so many things green when we we have important work that we have prioritized that is not completed. So that's the only point I want to make about that. And then I agree with both Councilmember Perales and the Vice Mayor about things being overused, not being cool, and also things that have the official stamp of approval lose their coolness factor very quickly. So it's, in a way, I think having an official city logo and having the San Jose logo be a little bit more underground it is part of its allure. So I'm not really certain we should use it. I'm not certain city government is cool enough to use that logo, actually.
So there's a motion in search of a second. Councilmember Davis.
No, I seconded it.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy to
All
have
right.
a discussion.
All right. So it's been moved and seconded. I don't see any other hands raised. So Tony?
Arenas? Cohen?
Yes.
I got you, Arenas. Cohen?
Aye.
Davis?
Yes.
Perales?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
And what date do we want to bring this back for discussion?
Bringing that forward as part of the budget process, so that's a reference to the budget office and Office of Communications. So we would not bring it back.
But wouldn't we want a separate conversation though on whether or not we agree with the council's gonna, it seems to me we'd want to take a vote as to whether or not to even include it in the budget process, because if the council, we don't know for sure the council is going to approve the change or be interested in the change. Or are you saying that it's a budgetary question whether we change the logo or not?
Yeah, Lee, can you address the timing on this?
So to get your point, so we can definitely bring this forward to the full council for the policy consideration. I would suggest that we do that in the spring, once we're closer to a budget proposal, so the staff has an understanding, and quite frankly, a better answer than what I would give to what's cool or not, as part of a logo discussion. And I also, I do know that Carolina and team have looked into the possibility of, do we just add this as one of the city logos versus canceling one and starting another as well, which several cities have done. So I'd want them to have the space and flexibility to figure that out. So we can commit to bringing something forward in the spring before we give the cost estimate to the mayor and council, if you so wish.
Although I guess it makes sense to have a cost estimate as part of the conversation because that could be relevant to the decision. But I want to make sure that it's going to be its own standalone discussion separate from the budget. That's the only concern.
We can do that.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. All right. For the next items, I'd like to combine all of the work plans into one motion with one public comment. And for the PIS-FIS work plan, I know, Lee, you have a statement and a request to make.
I do, just heard from the city auditor. And so I would ask the maker of the motion to include the following, that we amend the PIS-FIS work plan, the vehicle take-home audit, as well as the city grants management audit from February to April. Both of those audits will not be done in time for February. So both of those would move to April.
Great. Thank you, Lee. And before we go to the committee, I'm going to take public comments. And Paul, go ahead.
Wait a minute, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. So you're going to deny democracy to us because you want to put all of these together. Look at how many items are on there on just one of them, just on the economic development. There's a bunch of housing issues on there. What about PISPIS? There's a bunch of issues having to deal with the mayor's gang task force. And I mean, come on, man, this is not democracy, dude. This is you people exercising power over people that have none. Do we need to show you how much power we have? Is that what's necessary? What did Martin Luther King say? He said, not me, he said that the riot is the language of the unheard. You don't want to hear us, do you? The only time you're going to listen to us is if that happens. And if you keep doing this and just passing this stuff through, it is inevitable. It is inevitable because your boy, a brother, said it, not me. Also, John F. Kennedy stated that if you make peaceful change impossible, you will make destructive change inevitable. John F. Kennedy said that, not me. I'm quoting him because he was right. All throughout the 60s, man, this kind of stuff was happening, man. And what you just did right now is you circumvented the democratic process and allowing citizens of this city to comment on things that directly impact our lives. What's wrong with you people, man? What is wrong with you? What is happening with democracy? It doesn't even exist anymore. You guys just completely disregard it and you're waiting for something serious to happen. That way you come in with the guns. You come in with tanks, you come in with guns, you come in with bullets and just slaughter people for exercising the First Amendment right to redress their grievances to the government. We did that last year. Look what happened to us. A man's testicles got blown off. He can't have kids. People's got their knees crushed, clavicles crushed. That's what happened. When we stood in the streets and said, you know what? This is not tolerable anymore. And you're going to continue to pass these policies until something like that happens, man. This is going to be on you.
Blair?
Hi, thanks for the words of Paul. I would have preferred, to speak to all the upcoming committees. Government efficiency, public meeting efficiency is a nice thing. It feels good and it feels cool to ourselves. But I think we really have to be considering the good practices that happen with open democratic practices. And Paul mentioned that. Paul mentioned what develops out of good practices compared to stifling good practices. And San Jose has a really bad problem of stifling. And I think it's an issue we can really work together to address something pretty amazing that's possible for ourselves, what we can build and what we can create that you guys really like to put the nix on, and it hurts when you do that. So Paul and I will be talking a lot more about these consent calendar items and changes and adjustments that can be made. It's important to the current language, and good luck how that process can be. With my remaining time, thanks to Paul that he mentioned actually a few items, like housing issues. Good luck to really be considering ELI, VLI, and mixed income in this next year and how it can be of help. There's a whole bunch of items of digital inclusion and digital equity and just the use of the continued use of surveillance technology in our communities. The mobile plans that are going to be happening. Downtown is being drenched with new surveillance and technology ideas. All the 4 and 5G for digital inclusion is full of surveillance and data collection. So really, let's work on being open about our public policies and our accountability practices. It's really important stuff. It's incredibly important. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. And I agree with what Mr. Soto and what the other gentleman, Mr. Blair, was saying. If housing is and this is one of the issues that's keep being combined. I know we'll be able to talk about this at council too. If housing is an issue, and I guess it is, I mean, we're all can't find a place to live for under, what, $2,500, $3,000 a month. You got people stacked up like cordwood. If it is an emergency, and I keep hearing that word, treat it like an emergency. During World War II, the Manhattan Project, the equivalent of the amount of money we poured into that, which was about $1 billion, equals a quasi maybe 15 billion in 2022 money, maybe a little more now. And we've dumped a lot of that, not just San Jose, but California. And if homelessness is an issue, an emergency, they built an entire city, almost an entire state in New Mexico, Los Alamos, homes in less than 6 months for 25,000 people. And they did it with nobody knowing anything about it. There was no spreads of secret back then. And the way they kept things secret, I would not necessarily agree with, but it was war. But it seems to me that in the past, if it is that critical of an emergency, we have the technology now to 3D print frameworks of homes. There are a whole bunch of tiny homes that are out there. If you're paying $800,000 or $80,000 when you can pay 5 or 6, I know you're cutting out a lot of workers, and I understand that there's a lot of pressure. But if it is an emergency, like it was with Los Alamos, it can be done. And I would think people would have that kind of urgency. Thank you.
Thank you. The person with the number ending in 4963.
Yeah, hi, Paul, it's Martha. Listen, all the agendas up until December 14th have the language, if a member of the public requests discussion on a particular item. That language was first changed on January 11th. It deleted that the public had the right to request. That was the first change. And now there's been an interesting second change for the agenda today. The new language has been submitted, quote, the public may comment on the entire consent calendar and any items removed from the consent calendar by the chair. So there have been 2 changes to the language, which is fascinating, since December 14th. And as you are aware, I have put in a Public Records Act request to find out what in heaven's name happened and what emails and memos were exchanged to make this change, and I am still waiting. My request PRA has not even been acknowledged, but as soon as I get it, Paul and Blair, I will share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the committee, Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate all of the effort that went in by all the chairs of all these committees. It's a lot of work to figure out the agendas going forward. I actually just have a question on the T&E agenda. I mean, might be partly for Councilmember Davis. There's 2 items on there that come late in the year that I think will probably be relevant when it comes to formulating budgets for this coming year. One is the Vision Zero study, where obviously we're not doing a very good job, or the city's hasn't been successful in achieving Vision Zero. And we've had some unfortunate, stark examples of that just in the first few weeks of the year. And I'm thinking that a lot of us are going to be asking for budget things for our own districts and across the city to try to address some of these challenges, and might want to hear about that report sooner in the year in order to help us understand how we can do that, what we should do. So I'm thinking about whether that should be moved forward. And then the other item is the Climate Smart, and there's 2 items on Climate Smart. One is the quarterly report, which I guess is their obviously, or semi-annual report, which is obviously a recurring item. And then there's the June report from Environmental Services on accelerating climate neutrality, and first I want to understand how those 2 will be sort of separate discussions. And then given that there's probably some budgetary needs coming out of that acceleration strategy, can we move that earlier? Although I know there's a lot of work that they're doing to get ready to present that and may not be ready sooner. Just those are the 2 questions I have.
Thank you. I know for the carbon neutral, we had just passed that fairly recently. And so we had asked them to bring it back by June. I don't think, I'm just speaking for staff, I don't think they're going to be able to bring that forward. But Lee may have a better handle on that. In terms of the Vision Zero, there's the Vision Zero task force, and they get information sooner than we do at T&E. And so Councilmember Perales heads that up, and I'm sure that he will be able to to give us information in advance of that. But Lee, if we are able to bring that Vision Zero forward, I know I asked similar questions about what can be brought forward for the budget process, but maybe there's a different answer now.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. So Councilmember Cohen, for the Vision Zero, you're talking about item number 2 on the May 2nd agenda, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, the technically the proposed budget is released on May 1st. So that'll be out. And then on the 2nd, you'll still have not yet started your budget study session. So I actually think that item is somewhat timely for you guys to get a status update to inform your study sessions in May. Because, if you had it in April, I don't know that staff would be done by that point in time with what some of the things that they're working through, but May, especially the beginning of May, is very timely to help inform your decision-making for the budget.
Okay, I appreciate that. I was thinking also along the lines of potential council budget documents and things too, but I understand that this May 2nd may still work because the budget is clearly a month away. I just wanted to make sure we have the time we need to digest information and prepare budget documents and think about, be informed about what we'd like to propose in the next budget.
Well, I would just say, Councilmember Cohen, I'm sure you read the Merc just as much as I do, and that that we had a very bad year in 2021 for traffic fatalities, and we don't need to wait for the Vision Zero report to know that that's
right.
Still, that's a very, very much an important issue for us to address.
I certainly know. Okay, I appreciate that, and I understand the climate smart timing. There's also a part of the climate smart discussion we had about mitigation plans for sea level rise and other things. It's not necessarily about carbon neutrality, but about mitigating the effects of what's already here and the coastline and other things. And so I'm just wondering if that will fit in somewhere in this agenda and then in this these 2 quarters, or if we're thinking, or if perhaps we could have that for the next.
I think that. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Lee, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's in the semi-annual report. That's part of our regular climate smart plan.
That is correct. We would go over sea level change and hopefully have a little bit more of a status update for you on the shoreline project as well, given kind of the importance there. So that is our intention at this point in time. If it looks like that's speeding up or needs special attention, though, we do always have the flexibility to come here any given week and add things to the work plan.
Great. I appreciate that. Thank you for the answers. I'll move approval of these committee agendas, committee work plans.
With the change that Lee requested to PISFIS.
Oh, yes, that's right. There were 2 items in PISFIS that needed to be added or moved. So I'll add those.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
All right, and Councilmember Davis.
I just wanted to ask, thank you, about on the Community and Economic Development Committee work plan, the mayor had a supplemental for 2 additions to the CED work plan. Does staff have input into that? And then if so, we may want to amend the motion.
Yes, so and we just saw that. I would say 2 things. I think on the additions, that means planning, building, code enforcement is technically reporting to 2 committees, the Smart Cities and CEDC. And then I'm a little bit concerned that a monthly update, just the way that we need to post and the sunshine requirements might not give you informative data every single month and have staff really focused on the report versus the improvements. So we were going to loop back around with the rules committee, but at this point we would suggest them reporting to 1 committee and possibly go on a bi-monthly basis.
Well, I would like to suggest that the only reason that PBCE reports to the Smart Cities Committee is just for their digital upgrades. It wasn't specifically about housing issues. So I I think that CED is the appropriate place for these two items. These two items used to be on the Ad Hoc Development Services Committee, which I believe met quarterly if I remember back before the pandemic. So I would just like to suggest that maybe we bi-monthly or quarterly makes sense, and I'm fine with adding that, but I don't want to leave these items off the motion, because I think they are very important items for us to resume tracking, because in the absence of discussions about these items, I've been getting anecdotal feedback from many residents and developers that there are issues. So I'd ask Councilmember Cohen to add the two items for CED that the mayor suggested, and to leave it up to the chair of that committee to decide whether they need to be monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly.
That's a good catch. I'll add those items to the.
Thank you. I'm the seconder, so I accept.
All right. So it's been modified and we have a motion in a second. I don't see any other hands raised. So Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Yes.
Morales,
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, on to open forum. Go ahead, Paul.
Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. I live in a city where people that are the beneficiaries of that racist redlining policy has the opportunity to use that wealth that they accumulated in equity, which is about 150 grand a year, okay, just sitting there, okay, that they can run for mayor. I also live in a city where bullets can be fired at me because of my advocacy here for them, okay, and a sitting council member, Armendariz and Gilroy, is still allowed to just walk around like nothing happened, okay, and I report that to a police officer, Raul Perales, and he does nothing. This is the city that I live in. This is the city that I live in. This is the fact. These are truths. Look at Perales' text messages. I reported it. He's a mandated reporter. I reported it to a cop. So if I'm going to report a crime to a cop and a cop does nothing, what kind of city do I live in? Where am I? Toto, take me home. I'm serious, man. This is becoming a joke. It's a mockery. It's a mockery of democracy. It is a mockery to the 43 Chicanos that were drafted, pulled from the barrios of Sasipuedes to go and kill and die in the fields of Vietnam to give Vietnamese a democracy that they themselves did not enjoy. Exactly. And then you're going to put that statue up over there at the History Park. That didn't go through no political process. Esparza didn't take that through the Arts Commission. That statue needs to come down and it needs to be discussed. They don't know nothing about the Chicano moratorium on August 29th, 1970. Neither does any of you. You guys don't even, I'm like talking Chinese right now because you don't understand nothing that I'm saying. But that monument needs to come down. It did not go through the political process. Okay, that's number one. And what is it with the Vietnamese always wanting like warmongers? They just love war, don't they? That's all they care about is war, 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 war. Damn, man, doesn't even.
All right, Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. I think in speaking about Vision Zero things in San Jose, with all the law enforcement concerns at this time, Vision Zero is incredibly important to the future of law enforcement in San Jose. And that means that we have to have good, open public policies and accountability practices going, and all the ideas of Reimagine, Health and Human Services. That is how we build our future questions right now around these law enforcement issues. And it's vitally important to work on that. I wish Councilperson Jones allowed us more time on the work plan agendas. You know, our democracy is a bit in question at this time. You're taking away the public's right to ask at this time, and I don't think that's the right approach. I think there's ways that we can work this out. I'll be looking forward to that. About the English only ideas, oh yeah, and please call me back and write back when I write on this subject matter. Thank you. about the English only things. Zoom meetings are $300 for interpreters, and it's really expensive. And why do you think that is? Because they're trying to uphold English only laws from the 1980s. And technically, I mean, these are ideas that date back to the Chinese exclusionary laws of the 1800s. And these are concepts we are basically following and agree with to this day. I think the Equity Roundtable really needs to have an open discussion about the future of English only laws and what exactly is their purpose, because they are upheld and are respected in this community. We just simply need the conversation. And I hope it can become an important part of the voting rights issues going on right now for working visas. It's an incredibly important conversation just to have. Good luck in those efforts, and thanks for the meeting. I will be writing letters about our public meeting process to you. I hope it can be acceptable. Thank you.
All right, Brian?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I have to agree. 2 minutes. Vision Zero is really frustrating for me. Since I've lived in San Jose, well, since I've moved over to off of Willowbrae and Meridian, which is in Willow Glen, I've been almost run over about 8 times, have been hit 3 times on my bike, and the cars don't stop, and they are not going to. I wasn't hurt that bad. Well, dislocated stuff, and that don't matter. But I like to agree with Mr. Soto and Mr. Beekman. I don't expect a call every time I call back, but I call my council people, and you don't get any response, or you get a lecture from staff. And the last time I called, and I won't be calling District 6 anymore, is that they don't want to hear from us. Well, what am I supposed to do when I see a person who's obviously going through a mental health crisis, standing out in the middle of Meridian screaming with their pants halfway down, almost being hit, and because he lives up under the bridge, and I can't intervene because I don't know if he's armed or not. And I'm so afraid, and I have to agree with Mr. Soto, that I'm going to make a mistake and I'm going to get arrested, that I'm going to accidentally bump into somebody or touch somebody. I'm absolutely terrified of policemen, absolutely terrified after what I've seen them do to, I've never been arrested or anything, but what I saw them do to my family, and I mean, put my sister in the hospital for a week, choking her because she just talked back. And I mean, it just, every time I'm next to a policeman, I just am absolutely terrified of it. I don't hold that to them. It's more me, but there's a lot of us that feel that way. All we want to do is help. And it feels like we're the enemy. It really does. It feels like we're an enemy when we call. It really does. It's just really frustrating. And I want you to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott?
Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon, Scott Largent. I really enjoyed hearing that gentleman's public comment, that previous one. That's how I feel a lot of the times when I try to put my grievances on the table with not only the City Council of San Jose, but also the Board of Supervisors. Their ears are open a little more. They communicate a little better back and forth, but the city just kind of goes silent. You try to put things out on the table, and in my eyes, you guys are healing administrators, and we kind of come to you to fix some of these problems that we're having in our community. What I would like to bring up today is an issue involving a homeless man's property that was swept in Zone 2 out of the airport, Rudy Ortega. And an entire truckload, which is actually really weird to actually see happen with city staff, police officers, they loaded up all this stuff onto one trailer. And it was a good size one. And this stuff was supposed to be taken to a warehouse, and it was supposed to be stored for 90 days. Well, we have called and called and called, and I had a lot of different advocates call. Okay. And then I said to myself, I'm like, does anybody ever get their property back? So I started asking that question to all the advocates. No one ever gets their stuff back. So these notices that you guys were handing out send people in circles. This man is calling within the time frame. Your city staff approved it. And the best part is they did it all on camera right there. They were supposed to inventory his property. They were supposed to store it. Now he does not even have a trespassing ticket. He's on the no complaint calendar right now, and all his stuff's gone. please look into this and do the right thing for this man because he already has it hard enough out here in Zone 3.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you. I'm going to try to be brave today. I didn't speak on the logo issue because my issue was about the logo issue, but not really. I think it's great, whatever logo we want to use. But here's the problem. Kind of what I wanted to say was similar to what Deb Davis was saying, Councilmember Davis. I was reading on that form, and I know we've already had this, but it relates to my main comment. So when it said, is this aligned with the city roadmap? No. Is it already underway, department? No. Is it critical or an emergency? No. And will it require additional resources, staffing? Actually, it says substantial resources, staffing, budget, or strategic support. Yes. And I was furious because let me tell you, it's like the city of San Jose is a house that's on fire and the smoke alarm is going off. And then the owners of the house decide that's a good time to talk about what color they should paint the interior or what drapes we should buy. No, you need to put the fire out. We have no more resources. Every single time I hear a meeting, we don't have the staff for that. We don't have enough time to do urban village plans. We don't have enough time to do anything or enough money. And yet we're going to talk about spending resources on our logo. So please, just add the stinking logo, like we said, a supplement, and don't spend one more dollar. And if you have a dollar to spend, could we please address the humanitarian crisis that is at all of our feet? And with that, the brave comment I have is please read Progress and Poverty by Henry George, who over 100 years ago in 1879 wrote that book because he saw all of the poverty around him. As the city of San Francisco was getting richer and richer and richer, it was all the poor people that were getting poorer and poorer and poorer. The question is why? We have to address the root cause.
Thank you, Gail.
Hi, excuse me, good afternoon. I first off want to thank Councilman Cohen for what he's been doing with his unhoused community and the folks out there and the wonderful items you've been bringing them and coming out with me one day to meet some new unhoused folks in your district. Thank you, Council Member. So here we have a problem. You all have known about Phase 3, the FAA site. You've known about this for years. Nobody is doing anything. You have over 200 people living there. During the holidays, I reached out to the council member, Raul Perales, and asked him for some help on different items. Couldn't help me, God forbid. Couldn't help the unhoused. I know you only have a few weeks until it's turned over to Deb Davis. All of you don't get it. You don't understand. These people are going to go in your backyard. Do you care? No, you don't. Maybe in your backyard, yeah. But none of you have stepped up to do anything. There's no housing. There's nothing for these folks. Where are they going to go? Nothing has been talked about. Nothing is going on. There's no safe parking, RV parking, nothing. And, you know, you've all known about it. And Council Member Davis, you've got to step up. I've reached out to you. I'm hoping we can get together. There has to be something. It's only a few months away. And I firmly believe they're going to start doing it before they say they're going to. The FAA wants them out of there. And where are they going to go? Down by the river, the creeks, where are they going to go? Nobody seems to care. They have forgotten this site, all of City Council and all of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last public speaker. So this meeting is adjourned. Take care, everyone.